This is BBC One, now the news with Mike Smart.
Good afternoon. The Prime Minister has said that the Downing Street Declaration for Peace in Northern Ireland is the only offer on the table and that the IRA could take it or leave it. Earlier, a leading Sinn Féin member, Martin McGuinness, told a Dublin newspaper that the declaration as it stands is worthless. The Ulster Unionists say this confirms that the IRA is not interested in peace.
The comments by Martin McGuinness in the Dublin newspaper amount to a repetition of the traditional Republican demand for Britain to withdraw from Northern Ireland. They're also a further indication of Sinn Féin's attitude towards the Downing Street Declaration by John Major and the Irish Prime Minister Albert Reynolds. His remarks, in the wake of the weekend firebomb attacks in Greater Belfast, have been criticised by the SDLP MP for West Belfast.
I'm disappointed, as I've been disappointed with the campaign of the Propols, so especially since the Downing Street Declaration and since their ceasefire over the Christmas period. I think what they're doing here is that they're upping the ante.
The Prime Minister says it's time for the IRA to make a decision.
They can either decide to continue with violence and become increasingly isolated as they do so. It's achieved nothing for them in 25 years and would achieve nothing in the next 25. Or alternatively, they can decide clearly and finally that they will renounce violence for good. And then after a brief period, they can enter into democratic talks.
In a sermon at his church in East Belfast, the DUP leader Ian Paisley claimed Mr Major was now on a toboggan of appeasement and was helpless to reply effectively to Martin McGuinness. The Ulster Unionist MP, David Trimble, described the Sinn Féin interview as uncompromising. He said it showed Sinn Féin thought it had the right to impose its views on Northern Ireland. Noreen Erskine, BBC News, Belfast.
The Labour Party has attacked the government over what it says will be a brutal year of price and tax increases for the average family. But the government says economic policies are working and will produce increasing growth.
The higher rail fares mark the start of what will be a long succession of price and tax increases stretching throughout the year. The rise in duties in wine and cider, announced in the budget but postponed until after Christmas, has also now taken effect. John Smith, the Labour leader, says the government-imposed increases in taxes and household spending will have a brutal effect on the expenditure of a typical family. But John Major says the government's economic policies are working.
In order to have sustainable growth and higher living standards, we needed to get inflation down. It couldn't be done painlessly. I knew it wouldn't be painless, but I was absolutely certain that it was essential we did that. We have done it, and now growth is coming back.
Nevertheless, the Chancellor will be keeping an anxious eye on how consumer spending is affected by the tax increases.
Heavy fighting has broken out in the Afghan capital, Kabul, for the second day running. Dozens of people are feared dead and more than 600 are wounded. The fighting is mainly between forces loyal to President Rouhani and those of General Dostum, a former communist commander. In Mexico, armed peasants have taken over 4 cities after clashes with police in the south of the country. Police say up to 7 people have been killed, including 3 police officers. The rebels call themselves the Zapata National Liberation Army, after the Mexican revolutionary hero Emiliano Zapata. A search off Canada for survivors from a Liberian-registered cargo ship reported to have sunk in heavy seas has so far found nothing. The ship, the Marika 7, which has a crew of 36, was on its way from Quebec to Holland when it was caught in a storm about 1,000 miles east of Newfoundland. And that's all for now. The next news is at 6:10.
Good afternoon to you. Well, no one told the weather would change the year because 1994 is starting off exactly the same way that 1993 finished. In other words, very unsettled, often windy, often wet too, adding to the problems of already saturated ground in many parts of the country. We saw one band of rain moving north overnight, turning to snow up on the hills. Then something of a weather window coming in at the moment with some sunshine in many parts of the country. But this next fellow down here to the southwest will develop and move more rain into the south by tomorrow morning. Saw plenty of rain last night then. Bear in mind 25 of these things make an inch. 19 millimetres at Plymouth and Southampton represents something like 0.8 inches. And many places in fact did catch another ½ inch of rain across the country. A few showers still scattered around, some showers now showing up coming across Wales into the southwest Midlands, and still that persistent rain up in the far north of Scotland. But that should move away fairly quickly now this afternoon, and the sleet moving away as well. But some fairly beefy showers over western Scotland, but plenty of sunshine to come. I think most of us should see some sunshine today, with many eastern parts having a lovely afternoon. A milder day than yesterday as well, 8 to 10 in the south, nearer to 3 to 5 as you go across Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland too. Now, a few showers coming through on that southwesterly wind through the night, but then towards the end of the night we'll find more organised rain showing up in the extreme southern counties of England and South Wales by tomorrow morning. A chilly night up in the north. There will be some ice on the roads, temperatures falling to freezing. Down here in the south around about 3 to 5 being the minimum. Well, that's how things will look tomorrow morning, with this new warm front coming into the south, bringing rather misty conditions to the Channel and certainly some heavy rain too. A bright enough start further north through northern England northwards, but there will be some wintry showers still up in the far north of Scotland. Then a band of rain sweeping northwards up into southern Scotland during daylight hours, with brighter, showery, windy weather following on behind. Some of these showers will be heavy. There could be the odd crack of thunder, but it'll be a mild day in the south tomorrow, up to 9 or 10 degrees, nearer to 5 to 7 as you head across Scotland and northern England. Well, on Tuesday, low pressure resident across northern parts of the country, and this cold front swinging a band of heavy showers across many southern parts, with probably fewer showers developing through the afternoon, more in the way of sunshine by then. A band of rain moving across the rest of Scotland at that time. Things start to get a bit developmental as we go into the middle part of the week. Turns a bit colder too. This area of low pressure twisting across southern parts of Britain. It does mean to say that as the next batch of rain moves northwards, it will readily turn to sleet and snow, particularly on the higher ground from about the Peak District northwards. So quite nasty conditions to come by the end of Wednesday. Quite a bit of snowfall likely over the Pennines and much of the high ground of Scotland by that time. In the south then, brighter weather again feeding in behind, but you can see the temperatures then are beginning to tumble. A new area of low pressure, yet another one, shows up in the south by Thursday, and that low pressure will be resident across the country right the way towards the weekend, so it's going to stay very unsettled. But the main thing is that we are going to see a drop in temperature. It will turn colder. There will be frosts around at night, but another batch of heavy rain in the southeastern quarter of Britain to begin with, that moving away, and then some wintry showers for many northern and western parts at the end of the week. And that's it.
This madhouse is actually the family show office, and it promises to be...